everyone, welcome to the podcast today. My name is Gun Ngân and I will be your host for today on a conversation with a very special guest. Please welcome Mr. Patrick Larochelle, a direction instructor from Rubika, Montreal. Hi,
Hi.
welcome to the show. On behalf of the organizer, I would like to say thank you for your participation in the podcast. How was your few days in Vietnam?
That was quite nice. We arrived 5 days ago. We had like three classes in here, one for Montreal Life and one for the master class. So we really liked the old mood there. We liked what happened there. So that was a very great moment. And the day off was great also because we had the chance to visit more a little Vietnam. It's our first time. So that was very nice since we're here.
What impressed you most during the last few days?
In general, in
Yeah.
Vietnam,
Yes.
the food. The food were not. I mean, we used to eat Vietnam in Montreal, but Vietnamese food in Montreal, but not in Vietnam. So that's a big difference. So Vietnamese food are we liked before, we like it more. I would say that like that way. So we're impressed. The quantity of people also, how people just travel here with all motorcycle everywhere. That quite that's a new experience that is fun to have for us. So and that was impressive. And also a visit of the studio. We visited a studio yesterday, and we were impressed of the quality and the variety of what they can offer. We didn't think you guys have a big studio like that in here.
So, what's about the master class?
Masterclass.
Which impressed you most?
What impressed me the most for the masterclass, basically, is how the people here was on time first, because it's not all the time the case in Montreal. We have a bit more. We give a bit more freedom to the students for them to learn to be autonomous. But sometimes you have to deal with what happened with that. So sometimes they're late. So here everybody were on time. Everybody were ready. That was good. Then the masterclass itself was amazing. We really enjoyed the moment. After a couple of minutes, once we had the contact with people, at the beginning, both sides were a bit shy. I'm shy. I just want to be sure about my presentation, and they don't know me as well. So just a couple of minutes, maybe a half an hour, the time to just break the ice. And after that, that was a two perfect day for me.
I think we can get started with yourself so that our audience can get to know more about you. So, could you please introduce yourself in 2 keywords?
In 2 keywords, that will be curious and passionate.
And as I know, you have 28 years of experience in advertising, design, and motion design. So, could you share with us your experience in this field?
My experience on this field, I started as art director in advertising in Quebec City, so it's not in Montreal. I've worked there for 3 years to move in Montreal after, doing mainly advertising in Montreal because it's a bigger pool. I got more involved in other projects in design. So branding, making some branding from scratch, and going up to all what a company can do as communication. So business to business communication with the customer, promotions on any kind of media as well. So TV and newspaper at that time, outdoor. So I was working around those fields. After that, I started doing motion design. So that has opened another door for me in the market. And doing motion design, I could do my concept on the art direction side, to art direct my project, and even to produce them by myself, or to be really involved in it, since I was doing also motion design. So I'm working on the conceptual part, as well as I'm working on the production part, being like static image or moving images. So that's what I'm doing in those
So,
fields.
what did you find interest in motion design?
What I found interesting, first, it was to be able to move my own stuff, because when you have to hire someone and to supervise someone, it's another step. It's more time. When you do it by yourself, you supervise yourself, so it's a bit easier. And since I'm someone who is really careful on details, often when I work with other people, it's difficult to get really what I want, so it takes times. So when I do it myself, I don't have to explain myself what I have in mind. I have it in mind, so it saved me a lot of time. But to make just to make move images at the beginning, motion design for me was really something interesting for that. Just to move my image. At the beginning, I was just doing personal project. I was using even my painting. I was taking my painting, I was cutting my painting, like every piece, every brush, I was cutting out the old brushes on the painting, and I was doing animation with it, with depth and everything. So that gave me another tool to create, actually.
Hearing your story, I think that so why did you make decision to come back to Montreal?
Why?
Yeah, because I believe that Saudi is a very good country for you to develop. Yeah. So why did you make decision to come back to Montreal?
That's the other side. That's the life part. So for work, it was very nice. I could be there still, but because I mean, Saudi Arabia, they had at that time rules that are not easy to follow. So less liberty. In Montreal we like beer, so no beer there, of course, no alcohol, no nothing. So we just drink coffee all the time. You cannot talk to a woman on the street. I mean, you cannot even have a walk with your friend. So it was a bit difficult for me to have a real life there. So I came back in Montreal to have a life.
I see. So art direction is something I'm very interested, because I know it plays a crucial role in ensuring the artistic vision for is compelling. So I believe that being an art director, there are many difficulties behind that. So can you share some challenges that you encounter at the first day of being an art director?
Some difficulties. I would say probably the most challenging one is to get the result you have in mind, because most of the time you work with many people. So you have to, as art director, you have to have an eye over everything. So sometimes it's not just visual, it touches also the sounds of an advertising, for example. So you have to be able to communicate well with many people at the same time. All those people are specialists on their job. So I'm not sound design specialist, but I have, as art director, I still have the ear and the thinking of what we should feel. We should feel when we have the sound. Same for many other sides of it, photography or the video. So I have a look on everything, and I'm known to be very picky. So sometimes it brings some conflict. I wouldn't say conflict, but it's difficult to manage that, to not have a conflict between the different artists that you manage and what you want to have at the end. So that's the most difficult part of art directing.
I see. So you also having previously held both two positions, that is art director and creative art director.
Yep.
So what are the differences between two of these positions?
It's a big difference, because when you're a creative director, usually I would say you put your hand less on the work, so you supervise other art director. But from my part, it was in terms of visual, so I supervise art directors with less experience. It's like a lead in a studio who supervise people. And when you're art director, you work more directly on the project. So it's more a supervision job, but it depends also of the studio, because you can also be involved. Some creative director are not involved directly in the project; they just supervise. Other, like me, I like to be in touch with my team, so it's a teamwork for me. And I don't more and more, and I think it's the thinking of Montreal also. We don't have that much those levels. Even you have a title like a creative director. You're not considered as the boss. You're considered as the most experienced person on the team. So we stay at the same level, but it's us at the end who takes this decision and give the direction when our director don't know which things to choose or things like that. It's to us to make those choices. So that's the big difference. One is more supervising, the other one is more working on the project directly.
So when thinking of art direction, people often associate it with many terms like crazy or innovative. So is it true for you?
Yeah, I'm a very quiet art director.
Quiet.
Yeah, I'm very quiet and very serious art director. I can tell you that other art director, yeah, you can say crazy sometimes. They have no boundaries, no rules. They want to stay free in a way because you need to keep your mind open. So to keep your mind open, you don't want to be into like too much barrier. So you want really to stay free, and some people get too free, I would say, in that sense. So yeah, it's a reality, but it's okay at the moment. Another director do his job properly, and he stay, of course, polite or decent, because that happened also in in Europe, in America, that some art director were too wild with people. So that that doesn't pass. You cannot go too crazy. You can be too free, and you don't care about anybody. You cannot do that.
Is it a way for you to find inspiration?
A way to find an inspiration?
Yeah.
To be unbalanced, to just go on places that I don't know, that I never experience, just to put myself on another places. Because if you stay all the time at the same place and it's all the time the same thing that surrounds you, you don't have challenge. So you need challenge to create and to get inspired, in my opinion. So you have to unbalance a bit yourself to be able to your brain to get inspired. So the good way for me is to, for example, if I'm at home, because I'm freelancer, so my office is at my home. I'm working for different agency and I have client direct, but direct client. But when I work at home, often I go like on the roof, just on the small corner. I'm not even sitting on the table. I'm going just sitting on the stairs, or I'm going on the park next to my place, but never at the same place. Sometimes I sit on the kid playground to feel that I'm a kid. Okay, just to open up and to find and to get inspiration. And also, I like a lot to look at people, because when you look at people, you don't know them first. So I have a kind of game that I do, that I look at someone and I imagine, okay, what is his job? Where he come from? What he just done an hour before? And I try to imagine what those people that I don't know have done before, what's their life, and that's also a source of inspiration. Coffee cup that is on the corner of a table outside. If I reach the park and it has a coffee cup on the table, I ask myself, okay, that coffee cup, who put it there and why, and what he was doing having his coffee in the park. So just challenging and putting you in different situations that are unusual. For me, it's a good way to get inspired. Yeah.
Before I have a discussion with you today, I also take a research, and I know that you have a project, The Man of Steak. Yeah. So that is the project you inspired from the barbecue party. So please tell us about it.
Yeah, actually, after coming back from Saudi Arabia, I was just coming back from Saudi Arabia, so I had a bit of vacation. So I stopped working for 6 months just to, get used again of the real life. And a friend of mine who is programming plugins for After Effects was doing a contest. And the contest was to make an animation with his plugin. The name is Shapeshifter. So it's like modeling in 3D, but with extrusion. The theme is Superman, so the Man of Steel. and I was doing barbecue, like cooking my steak and like having flies around. And I was thinking about, okay, what could I do with Superman? I'm not that much a fan of superhero. So I was like, do I participate? And I saw the bone of my T-bone, and it looked like a bit the S of the logo of Superman. So I was like, okay, Superman, Man of Steel, Man of Steak. And I was like, okay, Man of Steak, I'm going to make the logo out of a steak with the bone for the S, and for the color, the meat with some flies around. So I've created that just under that theme. So that was just like a kind of joke, but I mean, I won the second prize, so I was happy
awesome.
for that.
How long does it take for you to complete that project?
About 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh, great. I would like to know, there is one question very common with our students, that is, what are the requirements to be an art director? Yeah.
To be curious and to have the most knowledge as possible in the different field, because I'm teacher too, so I can see that most of the students often they try to find specialty. So they want to be either animator or rigger or modeler. Few of them aim to know all of that without without to be specialist. For art director, you need to know a bit of everything. At least you need to know how it works and what is required to do the job properly on those fields, because you will have to deal with those persons and everything like photography, video. You have to be involved in everything, so you need to know as much as possible on all those fields. It's why for me, I felt that at first beginning of my studies, and I took classes of everything, like consumer behavior, because we have to communicate a movie or an advertising. You have a target group. You have to talk to some people that are really precise. So consumer behavior was one way for me to understand that. Painting, how to feel the color, how to do the colors, sculpture as well. So everything that is artistic that you can touch, more you have, better it is, because you will be able to do your job better.
Great. So that we should experience many relevant fields.
Yeah. Without to know that, for example, I cannot animate a character. I'm not a technical guy, but I can know if it's well animated, and I can know what are the boundaries, depending of the production. Again, depending on the production, you have different parameter. But if I don't know what is required to animate, I will not be able to have a good conversation with the animator, because I don't know what he's doing. So I need to know what he's doing without being able to do it, but to understand all those fields is so important.
Which personality you think that is needed to be an art director?
I think everyone can be art director. For sure, for some it might be a bit more challenging at the beginning, because some people are more shy. But I know an art director is very shy, and he's very good. Everybody like him, and he has this very low profile personality. Because sometimes people think that to be art director you need to to be able to talk to anybody and to not be shy. No, not true. I mean, at the moment you're able to communicate, for sure. I mean, if you're not able to communicate, it's a problem. The communication part is important, and the curiosity. So to be curious and to be able to communicate at a certain level, and open-minded.
What's about the meticulousness?
The
Meticulousness.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you have to be very meticulous, for sure. For sure, that goes with the job. I mean, you have to supervise all the time, so you have to be meticulous on every stages. So to find any small details that is wrong, or to add some details sometimes to add to the storytelling or to add to the mood itself. Sometimes it's passed by very small details, and even on when we talk about face, it's even more precise as detail, because just we have so many so many muscle in our face at the moment. I will take animation, for example. Animating faces, it's very complicated because at the moment you have a small glitch on somewhere, it looks like completely another emotion. So you have to be very meticulous on that. Yes, yeah, that's so important.
So you say now students can learn masterclass or join some classes online.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think that with the development of technology, so that means youngster can take shortcut to be an art director in the short term?
In the short term, difficult in the short term because it's so many, it's so wide, and you need to know so many things that it's very difficult to start as art director. And like the short part, you have to remove the short time and our direction. It's nothing is short. It need time to learn, need time to research. So I had the chance to start as our director, but because I've done all those classes, so many, so I was the only one going out of the school with so many so much experience. But usually there's no shortcut, I would say. So you have to get experience, you have to get a network, you have to work with people before for them to trust you, because art director is a position where when you need people to trust you, so that need time also.
In this episode, we just figure out the overall of art directions and the requirements for this job. Let's watch the next episode of our podcast to have a better understanding of art directions with Mr. Patrick, a field expert with 28 years of experience. See you soon.